Good evening, and welcome to the Tuesday, July 26, 2022 Tyngsborough School Committee meeting. Please be reminded that these meetings are audio and video recorded. I call this meeting to order, and my name is Becky Stanton. I'll start with introductions with Nate.
Hi, Nate Marino, student representative.
Jeff Bowe.
Justine Puma.
Michael Woodlock, Assistant Superintendent.
Hi, Mike Flanagan, Superintendent.
Anthony Tenorella.
Rob Mullen. Joe Messina, Business Administrator.
Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with the approval of minutes. I'll seek a motion to approve the April 26, 2022 executive session minutes, the June 21st, 2022 executive session minutes, and the June 21st, 2022 school committee meeting minutes. The executive session minutes not to be released at this time.
So moved.
Seconded.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That carries 5-0-0. Citizen time? There is none. And correspondence.
None at this time, Madam Chair.
Moving on to personnel. We have a whole slew of new hires. So we have Danny Costigan, a 1.0 THS social studies teacher. Stacy Cronin, a 1.0 TES paraprofessional. Jennifer Farnping, a 1.0 TES paraprofessional. Astacia Fernandez, a 1.0 TES paraprofessional. Cassie Kelleher, a 1.0 TES paraprofessional. Erin Rabito, a 1.0 TES paraprofessional. Bethany Shudo, a 1.0 social worker for grades 6 through 12. Nicole Stetson, a 1.0 school psychologist for grades 6 through 12. And Cassidy Tyros, a 1.0 TES school counselor. We also have a notification of intent to retire for Denise Feld, a TES administrative assistant of over 19 years of service. Thank you, Mrs. Feld. And then we have a couple notifications of resignation. We have Ryan D. Benedetto, a TES paraprofessional. Hannah Fellowitz, a TMS academic support. Kim Fultz, TMS paraprofessional. Gianna Kasky, THS wellness teacher. And George Cole Tucker, a TMS custodian. Wish everybody all the best. And for those new hires, welcome. Moving on to share the success. Nate?
Yep, so just a quick update tonight. At the elementary school, they've adjusted their start time by 10 minutes. Arrival will be between 8:30 and 8:40, and school begins at 8:40 and now ends at 2:55. The PTO will host a popsicle play date for preschool and kindergarten students on Thursday, August 18th from 10 to 10:30. Ultiplay will begin dismantling the play structures late next week. Please watch for Mrs. Kavanaugh's updates and follow the TES social media pages to see the new playground design. And the anticipated completion of the playground project will be around mid-October of this year. And for anyone preparing for the next school year, the 2022 through 2023 school supply list is posted on the TES website. At the middle school, summer cleaning is well underway, and currently they are hosting students and teachers from the Lakeview School until August 19th. At the high school, the maintenance staff is also continuing to prep the building for the upcoming school year, so thank you to them for all their hard work. Students who are taking AP classes right now are completing summer work to prepare for those courses. Fall sports will begin on Friday, August 19th with football and cheer. All other sports will begin on Monday, August 22nd, and all athletes must have all forms and an updated physical submitted before participating. And lastly, freshman and newcomer orientation will take place on Wednesday, August 24th from 10:30 to noon. Right now, the senior sidekicks and Mrs. Gustafson are preparing for the event. And once again, everyone hopes you're having a great summer so far and are looking forward to seeing you next school year. So,
Thanks, Nate.
Yep, no problem.
We have no subcommittee updates at this time, So we'll move on to unfinished business with Dr. Flanagan on the MSBA update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we'll jump into our student superintendent's update. As we know, what we promised all year, we'll have two regular standing updates. One will be about the building project, and the other will be about the strategy for district improvement and where we are with teaching and learning. So starting with the TMS building project update, we do have a school building committee meeting tomorrow night. Happy to report that we fully executed our contract with our construction manager, Fontaine Brothers. We're also pleased to announce that came in significantly under budget. I'm going to punt it to Mr. Messina for the exact number, but significantly under budget, correct?
Yes, correct. So of the 6 CM firms that were interviewed, Fontaine, prior to looking at the budgeting numbers were the select group based upon their presentation. And then looking at the price numbers, their control budget is some $400,000 less than was anticipated by left field in our budget.
So that's great. So tomorrow night, we'll get a hard number, what exactly that is, but they're going to be about $400,000 under budget. So that's great news for the community. The project funding agreement has been fully executed by the town. We anticipate that Jack McCarthy, the executive director of the MSBA, will be signing that hopefully on Friday of this week. After tonight's meeting, I invite the school committee to join us as we give you a tour of the new central office, which we've been relocated here to the high school. So we just kind of want to show you where we are, where we're going, what's been displaced, and what's been relocated as a result. We anticipate to be over here within the next 2 or 3 weeks so that when students come back on the first day of school, the high school students are operating with the central office already functioning in the school, and they don't have to adjust mid-year, no course correction. Also, by moving in a few weeks, that also gives the opportunity for Fontaine Brothers to come in and drill some test holes in the existing facility and see what they're dealing with as they think about demolition and really decoupling the gym and catwalk from the existing school. So the process is moving. It's certainly an exciting time. As I said, tomorrow night there's a big presentation by Fontaine Brothers, so they'll actually be going in depth on what their scope and sequence will be for the construction project. So I invite people to please tune in tomorrow night for that, for the school building committee meeting. And then ongoing, what's happened is I know that Left Field and JCJ and Fontaine have been meeting regularly to really finalize what the schedule is going to look like. We originally had one schedule from Left Field, our OPM. Fontaine came in and made a presentation with their schedule. Now it's a matter of getting all the minds in the room to really nail down those details and work with our town boards on the permitting process throughout. So they're finalizing that, and I imagine we'll get an update tomorrow night at the school building committee meeting about that as well. So the ball is rolling, and it's certainly an exciting time here. Strategy for district improvement. We've talked a lot about that over the past couple of meetings and how our goal and our desire is to get back to talking about what we're doing in the classroom and essentially blocking out some of the noise that we've dealt with over the past couple of years, that we were forced to deal with over the past couple of years. As you know, we put a survey out to the entire community, the school committee, the staff, parents. We received over 228 responses, and we're using that information now to really drive what we're going to do for the upcoming school year. It truly is going to be reflective of what this community gave us for input and what this community wants. We had a principal meeting last week. I'm going to have Mr. Woodlock kind of talk about some of the highlights from that meeting.
Sure. So in addition to looking at the data from the survey and being reflective on what was represented in the survey, we also wanted to kind of look at ourselves as professionals and think about the power of self-reflection. Being confident enough and courageous enough to say, like, this is what I think I'm really good at, but also, like, I need to improve here. As professionals, kind of at the highest level in education, a lot of times we don't have as much oversight as maybe teachers do or students do with the teachers. So it's really incredibly important as leaders that we continually are looking at ourselves and working with each other to try and identify what we need to do to get better and to push our students and our teachers and our administrators throughout the district. So we did that, and we also talked about, the courageousness of sharing what do you need. As administrators, a lot of times too, we're maybe unwilling to admit or say, like, we need help with this. And let's face it, we all need help at some point in our career and in our lives. So we want to make sure that we're open to that so that we can all continue to get better. Additionally, we talked about the importance going forward this year as the principal, as the instructional leader in the building, and how important that can be and impactful, not only for teachers, but if you're impactful with every teacher, how impactful that is on every single student that they touch as they go through the school year. So that's going to be a focus that we're going to be continuing with, ongoing throughout the school year. Sarah Lewensick and I have scheduled 3 meetings with building administrators in each of the 3 schools, and we're going to be starting tomorrow at the high school. And we're going to talking about this topic. The principal is the instructional leader. But we're also going to be, focusing on, how do our school goals and professional goals align with district goals and the SDI, and make sure that we are all, creating a through line, not only from the administrative office, the district administrative office, through the schools, but then once we've met with all 3 schools and the administrative teams, to make sure that there's some commonality between those as well, so that a student in grade K through, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then in through the high school, they're going to have some similarities throughout each and every school, and our focal points are going to be not identical, but definitely calibrated.
So the work is well underway. The work will continue at our administrative retreat on August 16th and 17th. And essentially what we're looking at is coming to consensus on what the community has said to us already and what we as administrators fundamentally believe and how that's going to shape the work that we are going to do moving forward. One of the things that I'll tease out is we use this at our leadership meeting in May. It's from Daniel Coyle, the Culture Playbook. And it's a great paragraph here, but it talks about not just having words that come on down from a high. It talks about what do you fundamentally believe and what is going to drive what you do. To that end, we are currently reflecting right now, this is our current strategy for district improvement. And in there, we have a vision statement and a theory of action. And it's chock full of educational jargon. And it's contrary to what Daniel Coyle is saying, in that there needs to be clear expectations, clear guidance for where you want to go, what you want to do. Interestingly enough, over the past several months, we've come across an article by John Safier that talks about the true north, having a true north statement. And that's something that we have all bought into as an administrative team. We need not a vision statement that's full of educational jargon. We need a simple statement that drives what we do in this town, in this community, that every teacher, every student can point to and say, yes, that's fundamentally what we believe. So we're taking the input that we've received from the community, we're bringing our own experience around it, we're workshopping it, and we're going to develop a true north statement that will drive what we do moving forward. So we're not going to confuse people with educational jargon. We want to do a laundry list of things. We want to come down to what our fundamental educational principle and purpose is in this district, and that will drive the rest of our strategy for district improvement. So you can see now, this is the first time we've changed the logo on our slide deck, and going forward, we'll be using this compass rose to remind us that we are going to come back to a true north statement and do what is best. And that includes everyone in the community, all community stakeholders in the Tyngsborough Public Schools, working to do what's best for our students once we achieve that statement. So our plan is to come back to the August 23rd school committee and share a draft of what our true north statement is for the upcoming school year. And then we're going to discuss how that becomes real and live in the district. And we'll also at that time recap what the retreat, results of the admin retreat, and basically the goals for the 2022-23 school year. So that's the direction we're going. We're focusing on students, we're focusing on teaching and learning, and we're really excited about where we are and where we're going. And we are so appreciative for the community and for the staff for providing us their input, because we're taking that to heart and we're looking at that and we're doing an analysis of it to say, this is what we as an educational community fundamentally believe, which will drive the direction we go. So that being said, as you know, we have some meetings coming up. We have our work session with Paul Ash on August 16th. August 17th, we have the school building committee meeting. On August 23rd, before we have the regular school committee meeting, I'd like to have a superintendent evaluation subcommittee meeting so I could talk to you about draft goals, which will tie right into that meeting as well, as we start thinking about the school year and get ready for the upcoming school year.
I did want to just point out that our working session with Paul Ash starts at 6:30.
6, sorry.
Sorry, 6,
Yep.
yes. And that session, while it is open to the public, it is a public meeting, it will not be audio and video recorded. So it'll be here, but
It's essentially a workshop,
it is a workshop.
a
Yep.
teaching workshop that Paul will lead us through. So that's what we have for upcoming meetings, and that's all I have under updates. Those are the two big updates right now as we talk about the school building committee as well as our SDI and the direction we're going. So it's a work in progress. Happy to answer any questions that anyone has about that before moving on. You may have more questions when I start giving you some information, more information.
I think it's less a question, but more of a comment. I don't really think our current vision statement is full of, really includes any educational words that may not be clear to the public.
No, but if you get to the theory of action, a theory of action which falls under the
Yeah.
vision statement. The vision statement is the overarching statement, right, for an organization. The theory of action is steps taken in the vision statement to get to our strategic objectives and our strategic priorities. We're trying to simplify. Right now, if I ask Mr. Woodlock, if I ask Mr. Messina, myself, I can't recite that vision statement word for word. So right now, we did a nice job crafting that 6 years ago. But fundamentally, what do we believe? And that's what we need to come back to. One simple statement that everyone can touch and put their hand on and say, absolutely, this is what's driving this district. And something a little bit more clear than this.
Okay.
Well, we've changed a lot in the last 6 years. A lot of
We
things
have.
have changed.
A lot of things have. A lot of things have, so.
Any other comments or questions? I did want to just take a moment. I apologize. I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting, but I'd like to welcome Mr. Woodlock. You know, it's your first meeting here. We're really happy to have you here, and it sounds like you're already off to a great start, so
to be
welcome
here.
back to Tyngsborough.
Thank you.
All right, for new business, we'll move on to welcome Whitson's, and Scott Berry. Mr. Messina, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Scott, you can jump up to a microphone. Scott Berry, our Whitson's District Manager, is with us tonight. I apologize. Our Food Service Director, Tracy Demers, was actually on vacation this week, so she couldn't make it back for this meeting. We managed to drag the big guy out of his vacation to come visit with us tonight. And what we were going to talk about tonight was the action item, which is, you know, if it's the committee's desire to renew the contract for its final contract year for next school year, as well as Scott just giving you some operational highlights for the past year and then going forward. And we're going to talk some pricing information. The governor's budget, it is my understanding, now has a universal free lunch component that is awaiting his signature. We don't know if that's going to be a fully funded universal free lunch. We don't know if the governor is going to sign the budget. It's my anticipation he will. And once the budget's signed, Desi will give us a little bit more information on what the pricing may be, if it's going to be full reimbursable similar to the federal program the last 2 years, or if it's going to look something different. I'll keep Scott here tonight just to do a brief operational highlight. We can talk about approving the amendment. It is my hope to come to you in the August meeting and give you an indication of where we stand with universal free lunch and whether or not we have to discuss a pricing model. So having said all that, Scott, if you want to give us a brief how we did and where we're going, that'd be great.
Sure, thanks for having me. So it was quite the challenging year this past year from all angles. So really, as you know, the supply chain challenges were probably the biggest issue for schools. So we had, the advantage Whitson's had, we had a procurement team in our corporate office really working diligently. And when I mean a team, it was everybody we had access to really make sure that we were getting product, getting the approved products that we could use in the school lunch program. The biggest challenge, again, was we really didn't know what we weren't going to get until the day we got delivery from our vendor. So I know during the course of the year, there were many menu changes last minute. One of the advantages we have is our menu system. We can post the updated menus instantaneously, so folks, the community, nurses can get the information, the nutritional information really that they need for food allergies or any accommodations we need. The other piece obviously is the labor challenges. So we worked, before I go forward, thankfully, the Tyngsborough food service workers we have, I have to, commend them. They have just been relentless and working nonstop to provide the meals for the Tyngsborough community. We had challenges to the point that Tracy was not here due to, COVID and other issues. But all through that, we maintained the program, that we did not interrupt the services and meals to the students or the community whatsoever. Going forward, that's going to be a challenge for us. One of the things we're looking at and we've done as a company is we're actually outsourcing our recruiting efforts. So we've hired an external recruiting firm. We actually brought them on last spring, and they've been actively looking for food service folks for the New England region. And as I mentioned to Joe earlier, I've seen probably quite a few applicants come through already for the upcoming school year, which is good. So we'll have to monitor that. And I guess the other factor to that is it does affect our program, what we're able to do in terms of the amount of offerings we do, promotions. Prior to COVID, we would do these chef promotions just to create excitement and, get students in the community interested in what we do, monotony breakers and those types of things. So depending on where we are with staffing going forward, we'll have to look at that and make adjustments as we go. All in all, our meal counts were very strong throughout the year. I know the elementary school had the highest meal counts, this past year, as well as the high school and the middle school did very well. So again, kudos to that team, to Tracy, for all that we did. Going forward for this year, it looks like we're going to have some of the same challenges with our supplies. In terms of cost of goods, we're looking at another 10% increase to food based on where we are right now. Another 11% increase to our paper, supplies, chemicals based on where we are right now, which will impact obviously the financials. But as Joe mentioned, depending on what the reimbursements will be for us and how that works, we'll really determine what the budget is and how we proceed from there. So it's a matter of, we're on top of things like that weekly. And again, any information, any articles that come out, I share with Joe so everyone's informed. If there's any information that needs to go out to, nurses in the community, again, I would work through Joe to get those articles and information available to distribute.
And to Scott's point, I think the corporate office is very good at that too. There's constant updates and mailings and the challenges of the supply chain that I do think Whitson's has worked through it very well. And I'll continue to say, prior to asking the committee's recommendation to extend Whitson for another year, the partnership we've had with Whitson's for, Scott, I think this is 14 years now, 9 years. We've been up there. We were one of the first districts in Massachusetts that chose them, and the leadership team at the corporate office, they are a phone call away from me. It's a family-owned business. If I wanted to talk to one of the Whitcomb family members, I could reach out and I'd get a call back within a day. They've always been like that. Very happy to continue working with them. We will, per DESI regulations, need to go out to bid in the early winter for next school year. But I certainly would hope the committee would feel comfortable endorsing Whitson's for another year.
Does anybody on the committee have any questions for Mr. Berry? Or Mr. Messina? No? Well, thank you for coming tonight. It was great to hear from you. We appreciate your time.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And I'll seek a motion to exercise the fourth of 4 years amendment to award a 1-year contract extension to Whitson's Food Services for the 22-23 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That carries 5-0-0. Great. Mr. Messina, we're still with you for signing the bills.
I'll take a big deep breath for this one because in your drive are a number of signing of bills and signing of payroll, just because it's been a few cycles since your last meeting. We also are in the midst of both fiscal year 22 and 23. So tonight, there was one fiscal year 22 warrant, which the committee has returned to me. The warrant number, account, and amount is in your drive. Also tonight, 14 FY23 warrants were presented, and they are all back signed. Again, warrant numbers, accounts, and amounts are in your drive. Mr. Mullen, as one of your single signers, came in on July 6th and signed the July 5th warrants. There was one FY23 warrant and 9 FY22 warrants on that date. Those amounts, again, are in your drive. That is it for signing of bills. For signing of payroll, there's actually, the July 4th payroll was a split fiscal year. So for FY22, there was a payroll dated June 30th with warrant number and amounts in your drive. And then for FY23, there are 2 different payroll dates, the July 4th payroll date and July 18th payroll date. Again, warrant numbers and amounts are in your drive. And I will point out the July 18th payroll date was our first payroll in the new Munis accounting system. And I believe it was fairly successful after just a couple of bugs. We'll be entering the August 1st payroll tomorrow, so hopefully we can keep the bugs out of the payroll for the district. And that is it for me.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, thank you. Moving on to school committee discussion. Nate,
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Jeff?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Nothing at this time other than to welcome our new member.
All right. Mr. Woodlock, did you have anything?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Joe?
I'm good, thank you.
Rob?
Welcome, Mr. Woodlock. It's nice to have you back. I would like to thank Ms. Denise Field for all of her years of experience and taking care of the staff and the parents and the kids at the elementary school. I think all of us who have had our kids go through that school have had the opportunity to speak with her at least once. She has a wealth of knowledge. She has always been very kind to everyone that she's worked with, everyone that she has helped. And I want to thank her for those years of service, and I wish her the very best in retirement.
Thanks, Rob.
And that's all I have tonight.
Welcome, Mr. Woodlock, and that is it for me.
I hope everyone's having a great summer. I hope you can see and know that there's a lot of great work being done by everyone in the district at this time. It's not entirely kick up and have a good time at the beach and things like that. I think our educators are working on their craft. They're reading, they're staying current, they're decompressing, which they absolutely need. And it's just a few weeks away, so looking forward to what lies ahead.
Great. Well, it sounds like we have a busy August 23rd meeting ahead of us. So I look forward to that, and I'm excited to see what we have for the strategy for district improvement. With that, we have no need for executive session tonight, so I will seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That carries 500. We are adjourned. Thank you.